Hello everyone, welcome to the second video of the TopSpin software tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to calibrate your NMR, pick peaks, and integrate them. Let me give you a quick refresh on how to open your NMR file. To do that, go to the top left of your screen, press open, and hit OK. This will open up File Explorer and go to the folder containing your downloaded NMR file. In my case, it is the Downloads folder. Once you see your NMR file, go into it by clicking twice and double click again until you see the experiment number. Once you see your experiment number, click on it once and press display. This will open your NMR file into the TopSpin software. Now, before we calibrate or integrate our file, let me go over a few basic functions that will allow you to move around your spectra. Close to the top left, you can see logos such as ×2 divided by 2 and a bunch of arrow functions. The ×2 logo, if you press on it, will make your NMR spectra twice as long. The divided by 2 logo will simply do the opposite by halving it. Beside it, we have the arrow buttons, and the first one, if you press your mouse and hold onto it and drag your mouse, it is going to either expand or reduce your NMR spectra, basically stretch it vertically. This function can also be obtained if you simply scroll your mouse wheel. So if you scroll your mouse wheel up or down, it is going to do the exact same function, as you can see on my screen here. Beside it is the logo, which is simply tilted horizontally, and doing that will simply stretch your NMR spectra horizontally. Beside that logo, we have a double pointed arrow logo, which if you, again, press and hold your mouse and drag it, it is going to move your entire spectra up or down. Beside it, we have the same logo but tilted horizontally, and it is going to move your entire spectra either left or right. Now, beside that logo, we have a logo that looks like a download button with an arrow pointed downwards. If you press on that button, it is going to shift the entire baseline of your spectra to the bottom. These are some general functions that you could use to move around your spectra, and that makes it easier for you to analyze it. Now, the first thing that you should do every time you open a new NMR spectra is to calibrate it. In my experiment, I used chloroform or CdCl3 as my solvent, and chloroform has a chemical shift value of 7.26 for a proton NMR. For a carbon NMR, those values are different, even if the solvent is the same. Similarly, you might have used other solvents in your NMR experiment. For example, if you used DMSO-D6 as your solvent for your proton NMR experiment, then your solvent signal should be 2.5 parts per million. In my experiment, I used chloroform, so I know that my solvent signal should be 7.26. But here, it is showing my solvent signal as 7.2835, which is slightly inaccurate. So we need to calibrate this. In order to do that, first of all, I'm going to zoom onto this signal by simply dragging my mouse across it and scrolling it slightly to elongate it. Once I've done that, I'm going to go to the bottom left in the command box, and here I'm going to type .cal and press enter. That is going to remove the default calibrated value, and it is going to allow me to enter a new calibration value. Here I'm going to go to the tip of my peak and click or left click my mouse once. And now in the calibrate dialog box, I'm going to enter its correct value, which is 7.26, and press enter. This allows me to successfully and accurately calibrate my solvent signal as well as the rest of my NMR graph. To get the view of the entire NMR, simply double-click anywhere on the blank, and that brings you back to your full view. Now that you have calibrated your spectra, it is time to pick some signal peaks. In order to do that, go to the top left of your software, and over here you can see multiple tabs: Process, Analyze, Applications, and Manage. For pick peaking, go to Analyze, and right below it, to the very left, you can see Pick Peaks as an option. Click on it once. Clicking on it will give you a list of new functions that you can use to pick your signal peaks. Every time you open your NMR, the software is going to automatically pick and generate a bunch of values which you may not need for your signals. So in order to get rid of them, click on the logo that looks like a cross over a staple. When you do that, it is going to remove all the values that the software had automatically generated. And now you can start manually picking your signals. Before doing that, I am going to zoom in to the region that I'll be working on. This will allow me to be more precise while picking my signals. In order to pick your signals or pick your peaks, you need to first press on the logo that looks just like a staple all the way on the left of the functions bar. Click on it once, and now all you need to do is drag your mouse across the tip of your peaks, just like this. And when you release it, the software is going to give each of those peaks its chemical shift values. So do the same process for the rest of your peaks. Simply go to the tip of the peak, drag your mouse, and let go. Now, when you come across a cluster of peaks, as you can see on the bottom right over here, what you want to do is zoom in even further. In order to do that, I'm going to go and unselect the staple logo. And now I'm going to drag my mouse across the entire region. This allows me to zoom in even further into my NMR and will make my picking process even more precise. I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up to elongate these signals, and I'm going to continue picking these peaks. Again, I'm going to select the staple sign once, and I'm going to start dragging my mouse across the peaks. Here, from my starting material, I know that these two peaks are a duplet, and so are these two peaks. And this over here is a multiplet. And here is another duplet. Once I've picked all my peaks, I'm going to unselect the staple logo and double click anywhere on the screen. That will give me its full view. I'm going to zoom into the region that I was working on and just make sure that I haven't missed out on any of my signals. Once I'm sure that I have completed the process, I'm going to go to the functions bar, and just one from the right side is a button which allows me to return and save my changes. So I'm going to press that button once, and that has saved all my changes. So all the peaks that I have picked manually has been saved into the software. Now I'm going to return back to the original spectra by double clicking again. Now I have successfully calibrated and picked my signal peaks. I'm now going to show you on how to integrate these peaks. To integrate, you need to go to the top left, and right under Analyze, you can see the Integrate button. I'm going to press on it once, and here, just like pick peaking, the software automatically integrates your NMR spectra, even the ones that you do not really need to, such as my chloroform solvent peak. So in order to get rid of all these automatically generated values, what you can do is look at the functions bar, and somewhere in the middle you will see a logo that looks like a paint roller. Click on it once, and that will highlight all of these automatically generated integrals with a yellow color. Once you can see that, go to the logo right beside it, which looks like a cross over a staple logo. Click on it, and that will remove all the automatically generated integrals. And now you can start manually integrating your signals. So in order to do that, first of all, unselect the staple logo and zoom in to the region of your spectra that you want to work on. Simply drag your mouse across that region until you are getting a good view. Once you've done that, now we can manually integrate our signals. To do that, go to the functions bar and select on the logo that looks like a staple. Select on it once, and then you can start dragging your mouse across each of these peaks that you want to integrate. For example, let's say I have this peak here in the middle that I want to integrate. So I'm simply going to drag my mouse right across it. And once I let go, the software assigns this peak a value. I'm going to repeat this process for the rest of my peaks. And this long peak over here. Now, we have come to a similar problem that we faced earlier, a cluster of peaks. In order to deal with this, again, first of all, unselect the staple logo, and now you can drag your mouse across that region in order to zoom in into it. Once you've done that, you can scroll your mouse wheel slightly up, and now it is a much better view and much easier to manually integrate these peaks. So go to the functions bar and press on the staple logo again. And just like in peaking, I'm going to drag my mouse across these two regions because I know from my starting material that it is a duplet. I'm going to do the same over here. And in this way, I'm going to finish the rest of my major peaks. Once I've done all of that, I'm going to unselect the staple logo at the top left and double click on the blank, which will take me back to the full view of my spectra. I'm going to zoom in onto the region that I was working on and just make sure that I haven't missed out on any of my major peaks. Now that I've made sure, I need to now calibrate all of these integral values. I know that the peak in the chemical shift value around 4.0 is a single proton. Over here, it has been integrated as 0.4925. So in order to calibrate my integral, I'm going to go over there and right click, and then I'm going to select Calibrate Current Integral. Once I select that, it is going to ask me to assign a new value. Since I know that that is a single proton, I'm going to press 1 and hit OK. Now doing that will not only calibrate that particular peak, but will also calibrate the entire spectra to their accurate proton values or their accurate integral values. Once I've done that, now I need to save all the changes that I have made. In order to save changes, I need to go to the functions bar and just one from across the right, you can see this logo, which looks like a return and save logo. I'm going to press on this logo once, and now I have saved all my changes for the integrate function. So in this way, you can calibrate your NMR spectra, pick your peaks, and integrate all the values. Thank you for watching this video. In the future tutorials, I'm going to be talking more about multiplets and J coupling constants.